Hey everybody, it's Carm here, coming to you on a early Sunday evening. Wasn't expecting to come on and do a video today, but I was out and about earlier and I found a new place. I like to go on Sunday drives if I happen to be off on the day, and if it's nice enough. And it was real mild. It's probably like the high 40s and sunny, so I just took a nice long drive. And I went to an area which I had gone to years before when there was a record store in this particular area. Well, it turns out they had closed down maybe 5 or 6 years ago. They were called Remember When. And unbeknownst to me, I guess back in the spring, a new place opened in the same location, Blue Village Vinyl. Totally unaware of it up until seeing it today. See, it's got a little bit of everything as far as formats. They have stereo equipment, instruments. I'd seen for guitars and keyboards and lots of amplifiers. Home stereo setups, speakers and EQs and just about everything. Tools to repair them, if you need to, and all kinds of memorabilia. Kind of similar to the old shop, although this seems to have even more, as well as all the musical formats and DVD and whatever you like. And yeah, it was just a Picker's Paradise, it's called, and very aptly so. It's very neatly arranged, though. I mean, it's not ramshackled. It's very nicely arranged, and yeah, I was a bit overwhelmed upon walking in, but after a while, settled down a bit, and was happy to see what was there. And I did find a few things. I didn't stay there real long. I figured, since just being reacquainted with the location after so long, I just look, see what was there, and save the rest for another time. But yeah, I found a little bit of a few formats. Start right in with something I never had on this particular format, surprisingly. Good old TD, Tangerine Dream Phaedra. I've had the CD since '92, and appropriate enough that I'd pick it up at this time, being that I always considered it an essential winter time album. I mean, even the cover kind of speaks to that, but just something about it just makes me think of frigid temperatures and snow, and we have a little cat fight in the background here. It's like old times, and yeah, it's nice to finally have it on. For some reason, I never had it on vinyl before, but any of you know this group certainly must know this album. But, yeah, happy to finally get it on the format. And just one other record, one I didn't have in any form. Got a Paul Horn Quintet Monday. And, another nice cover here. Kind of looked like this for very briefly on the ride home. But, you can see the tunes here, the songs he's covering here, of some standards of the time from 1966, just a couple of years before Taj Mahal, inside the Taj Mahal. So it's kind of it's among the last of the more traditional jazz ones. He did some later on too, but as far as the the kind of early traditional period. So yeah, it should be nice. I haven't heard this yet, but I know I have a lot of his later ones, but it's nice to add a few more early vintage pieces. Got a few tapes here. They had lots and lots of tapes, 8-track and the standard cassette. Branford Marsalis, Scenes in the City, which you look at the other side here. It's kind of neat with this flap here, but I don't know if is that Korean maybe. So that was interesting finding that. Only $2 a tape, or depending how it was marked, but yeah, see how this is. I don't have too much of his in the collection. And a couple of tapes here I've already had on CD. Suzanne Ciani, Pianissimo, her first solo piano album. which did have a little bit of a little touch of electronics from what I remember. Real nice. Private music. Kind of a, it was from the late 80s, like 88 or 89. And Patrick O'Hearn, another old favorite of many, many years. Also on El Dorado, private music. Yeah, this is also from right around the same time. Yeah, late 80s, 88, 89. Yeah, real nice eclectic one. And yeah, that's it for the music actually. And just a couple other things here. They had so much; it was a little overwhelming. So I just you had to be kind of choosy, or else you would have really been in there for. But I'll definitely go back there. And the fellow there was really nice, and yeah, I guess they opened up in the spring, and it really looked like the old shop, from all those years ago. It really captured that flavor. Yeah, I couldn't pass this up. Century. If you remember this, with Peter Jennings, this was on the History Channel about 20 years ago. Very large series, and so all on audio tape here. Love this with a glossy cover. It's at 15. I think it's a 15 piece set here. Yeah, going all the way from was it 1900, yeah, 1901 to 1914. Each decade has its kind of title there and distinction. So yeah, this would be fun to listen to. The kind of thing I could put on while doing something around the house that isn't too demanding, where you could take, you could go back and flip over the tape, and not like a long-term project, just some, a little more casual. But yeah, I really like this sort of thing. You'd almost, at this point, it's almost like a novelty item, I guess you could say. Being that, I'm sure somewhere there's probably the DVD set, or I'm sure you could find it online streaming and all that. But yeah, very nice. Only $8, so who knows what it was at the time. Now, but this final thing, I'd have to say, was the kind of the ultimate, the pinnacle of the find, so to speak. Really, and I just skimmed at this section, and it had a nice book section. Electronic Music Pioneers. I know I had heard of this book somewhere, but I'd never came across it. And from what I remember, someone may have shown this actually in a video, because I know the cover looked really familiar. And it goes back really to the beginning. Of course, they talk about Bob Moog, and but even going back further to probably mention something about redefining genres, the musical evolution towards new artistic concepts, timetable of musical technology, discussion with Dr. Robert Moog. They have an interview with Klaus Schulze, another one with Christopher Franke from Tangerine Dream, another one talking about Suzanne Ciani, I just shown, with Don Buchla, who she'd worked under, and the mysteries of Surge Modular System, Michael Stearns, Steve Roach. I mean, all the people that I've been fans of since I first got into this sort of thing. Just before high school. So yeah, very, very neat. And these are the books from '02, and some of the interviews took place at various periods during their career. Could have been the '80s, and then they did like an addendum revising it for if they were able to contact them again, to do something updated for the early 21st century. Bob Moog there, original pioneers. But yeah, I was really excited. Oh, here's Wendy Carlos. Yeah, really thrilled to find this. Going back to the beginning here. Eric Sidé and the second Moog synthesizer, 1964. I know they have pictures of all the the people being interviewed here. But, I don't know if I have other. I have a book on new age musicians, but I don't know if I have anything on electronic musicians. Maybe just the magazines. Leon Theremin, inventor of the theremin. Way back when. Yeah, so neat. So we could find the ones with Klaus and there's another one, Bob Moog, early on. Let's see here. Here's Fuzzy. Oh, here's Chris Rocca. Surrounded by, looks like his own Moog at the time. And this was right around, by the time this book had come out, he had already been doing a lot of soundtracks, like Babylon 5 and various solo albums. Very early one of him with the Tangerine Dream days. He's someone, I know Gary and I have talked about it. We'd love to see him come out with another solo album, non-soundtrack album, just like a personal synthesizer related album. There's Suzanne Ciani. Yeah, she was very pioneering, again working with Don Buchla and the analog synthesis of the time, and which she's actually returned back to analog synthesizers after concentrating on other keyboards and piano for a long time. So it's nice to see that coming back full circle. Michael Stearns, the great synthesist, came out of the late 70s in California. A lot of Steve Roach and Kevin Braheny and a lot of players kind of coming after what's known as the Berlin School. Oh, here's the Steve Roach. The interview with him is pretty long, which is nice. Going through that. And we talk about those of us who are into this sort of thing. We're very interested in the studio shots, seeing them in their kind of home environment there, with all the great tools. Yeah, just so much fun finding this. Invisible Musicians, Laurie Paisley on the sequencer. And yeah, it just goes into all kinds of different aspects of MIDI, and later on it goes into the internet itself and sampling and everything else. So yeah, this will be a lot of fun to get into. Just skimming through it earlier. But, yeah, this is definitely the find of the day. But even out of all this, but, yeah, just wanted to share these. And before I forget, I have something which is also electronic in the background, which I picked up recently. Dealey Derbyshire Appreciation Society, WoW and Flutter, and they have a first one which I can't remember the title. It might have just been self-titled, and it's by Gary Hughes and Harvey Jones. I believe this is Harvey Jones and Gary Hughes. And, yeah, they did the One Another album together, and Gary Hughes has done quite a few things back in the 80s, but wasn't sure about Harvey. So, but yeah, if you could hear it, this is what they're doing. Kind of reminiscent of the Bud and Eno albums of the 80s, but definitely putting their own spin on things. Kind of a short album, but very nice. I really like this cover too. But, yeah, it's pretty much. I'll share real quick for those curious. Saying before, it's when you're taking a road trip or just taking a nice drive for the afternoon. Like to have the right tunes with you, and I just grabbed something. So I was heading out the door. Edgar Froese, Beyond the Storm. Really nice compilation from mid-90s. I think his last official solo album before that was Pinnacles from 1983. This is a kind of compilation of reworked stuff that was already released, along with stuff that had been in the vault that he'd worked on throughout the 80s and a little bit into the 90s. I think a lot of those were remixed too, and gives a really nice history and very small font, about about his playing and going through each of the albums and his history in general. So yeah, it's a real nice intro to him if you're not familiar with his solo work, if you're just into Tangerine Dream up to that point. But, very much recommended. Here he is, the director, not really directing though. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and share these. Again, I wasn't really expecting to come on, but it was a real good day. Found some things. Really don't do much in the way of new finds videos anymore, but hadn't found much as much lately. But at some point I'll come on and do maybe like a year in review type thing and show what little I found. Otherwise, besides what I'd found with Chris at Record Wonderland, and we might have done a record show. I can't remember if we did one this year or not. We do at least one every year, it seems, but I don't know if we did it this year. But at any rate, I'll eventually come on and show some of those. So from Rocky and I, hope we're all well, and if I don't see you before Christmas again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and peace, love, and joy.